In this episode, we will introduce Python tutor and Python naming rule. Python tutor is an online Python interpreter. To use Python tutor, open a web browser and input the URL pythontutor.com and press enter. You will get this introduction page for Python tutor. Let's click the link, start visualizing your code now. And we are now getting into the Python tutor interpreter. Let's choose the live programming mode, which will help us better understand the naming and assignment. The window on the left is the text editor on which we can type Python code. The window is resizable and we can adjust it to the size we like. The space on the right of the text editor will display the table that maintains the name we created and associated values. Let's create a name Harry and assign the value on the cabinet to it. We can see that the interpreter generates a table to show the name and its associated value automatically. When we create another name, run, and assign the value big family, the name and its value will be added into this table. The left column of the table indicates the name, and the right column of the table indicates the values. A name in Python must be assigned a value when it is created. Otherwise, we were going to get a name error. For example, we create a name Jenny, but this time we do not assign a value to Jenny, and we are going to notice that the interpreter give us an error information, name error at the end, and there is going to indicate that name Jenny is not defined. So we have to assign a value to Jenny. Let's assign 1 to Jenny and press enter. And we are going to notice that there is a new entry in the table for Jenny and its associated value 1. And by the way, in Python, we can add comments. And the comments is just a way to explain your code. For example, here we explain that a name must be assigned a value when it's created, and then we want to use that as a reminder to ourselves in the code. And to do that, we have to use the pound sign in front of that string, so that when we execute the code, the interpreter will consider this string as a comment, not part of the code, and it will not execute it. And a second naming rule in Python is that names in Python are case sensitive. For example, if we create another name, Jenny, and this time we are using capital G here, and we assign value 10 in this case, this Jenny will be considered as a different name from as a different name. And you can notice that there is a new entry for the Jenny with capital G in the table, and the value associated with the new Jenny gonna be 10. In addition to check the table to figure out what's going to be the value associated with each name, we can actually use print function in Python to check out the value associated with the name. To use a print function, we can simply type print with a parenthesis. And inside the parenthesis, we just pass the name that we want to check its value. So in this time, we want to check the value for the Jenny with lowercase g. And press enter, you are going to notice that there will be an output window above the table on the right of your screen. And that's going to give us the return value for the print function. And the return value will be the value associated with the name Jenny with lowercase g here. We can do that for the other Jenny with capital G. And we can notice that the return value for the second print function is going to be 10, which is the value associated with the second Gini with the uppercase G here. A valid name in Python can only contain letters, numbers, and underscore characters, and the first character of a name cannot be a number. For example, we can define a variable. We can create a name, Genie2, and assign a value round to it. We can notice that there is a new entry for Genie2 in the table, and the value associated with Genie2 is a value that is associated with Ron. We basically assign Ron's value to Genie2. So Ron and Genie2 have the same value, but we cannot say 3 Genie. And if you do that, you're going to notice that the interpreter gives you an error message and let you know that this is an invalid syntax because the first character of a name cannot be a number. So to fix it, we can easily add another character in front of the first character here. So we can use underscore, and because underscore is a valid character in use in name in Python. So in that case, you can notice that the table create a new entry for underscore 3 Genie, and the value with the underscore 3 Genie gonna be 10 in this case. One last naming rule for Python is that we cannot assign value to keyword. For example, true is a keyword in Python which indicate a Boolean value. And if we assign the value, let's say 3, and you are going to notice that the Python interpreter will complain that cannot assign value to a keyword. And then there will be no entry for this assignment in the table as well. In addition to true, false is another keyword, and we cannot assign value to false neither. And you perhaps want to know what are the keywords in Python that we cannot use as names, and that is a pretty good question. A handy way to identify whether a name is a keyword or not is to use a good Python interpreter, like the Python tutor here. So you can notice that all those keywords are highlighted. And so true and false here are highlighted. Those highlighted words are mostly going to be the keyword that are reserved by the Python already, and we shouldn't assign value to those keywords, and we cannot use those keywords as names.